Okay, so hello everyone, welcome to another stream of Venividivici for the PK tournament. We had to do a few rehosts there because of a map issue, but anyway, things are rolling now. We have started the match. This is the match between SnsJack and Nagayumi. I've streamed something of SnsJack before, versus Gungun and versus Eric. He's a good player, a Japanese player. But he has a tough path here because he has to play versus Nagayumi, and he is considered as the best, if not one of the best, one of the best, if not the best Japanese player out there. So it's going to be very rough for him. And not only is Nagayumi one of the best players because of his playstyle, micro decision making and stuff like that, also he is able to play pretty much every civilization. So that includes Ottomans, Iroquois, Japanese, etc., which makes him even a worse guy to play versus, of course. I mean, worse as in harder for you. So, Iroquois is what his choice is for this first map, Great Plains, and SnsJack is gonna stick to his Aztecs. We've seen it before, he plays it quite well. I have to give the advantage here to Iroquois on this map, but we have to see what SnsJack can put out of his head. We've seen some pretty interesting strategies for him before, with his Chinese. And I'm definitely expecting his China to come up later. Anyway, we see that the Aztecs is going all the way over to the base of Nagayumi to get a treasure there, but Nagayumi, of course, still scouting the outsides of his base for food, is finding that, and will now track down the hero of the Aztecs. Anyway, the Aztecs has one wolf converted and is now gonna attack the hero of Nagayumi with it. But that leaves, of course, the 70 XP treasure there for Nagayumi, and now Nagayumi also brings his bear there, and of course we know a bear is no match for a wolf. I mean, a wolf is no match for a bear. I'm messing things up today, maybe because I just woke up. Anyway, that means that it's very unfortunate because it looks like he's gonna lose his hero. We see some nice micro here of Nagayumi using the bear to block the hero of the Aztec so that the hero of himself can do more damage. You see that the bear is constantly walking away, walking in front of him, trying to estimate the path that SnsJack is going to. So that means that we see now that SnsJack is trying to do as much damage as he can, staying close to his treasure, probably gonna try to indeed get killed by the nature instead of the, I think the bear got it, but I'm not 100% sure about it. Anyway, what he tried to do was giving the XP, 100 XP of course, to nature, Mother Nature, instead of to Nagayumi. Anyway, Nagayumi now has the 70 XP left, of course, nice one to pick up maybe later on. But this is very unfortunate for the Aztecs guy because, of course, he scouted like this somewhere around the map. And that means that the whole left side, including treasures like 95 wood, the scout, etc., but also his resources, I'm not even sure if he scouted this one yet. He has no idea where he has resources and also where the Iroquois has other resources. Regarding map balance, we see that the Iroquois has 2 gold mines, but that's not the most important thing at this point. The wood for him is quite far in the back, and he does have a few trees around his town center. And this is his second real normal herd. But the Iroquois can be a little bit more aggressive, so if he puts his warhead over here somewhere or maybe over here, it's still all okay for him. SnsJack, however, has one herd here. He scouted this with his hero, so that's good for him. And the other one, if he can herd this on time, he can of course deny Nagayumi from herding there. And there we see Nagayumi already converted one bear before when he walked over here. And now he converted the second one and of course killed the other 2, and then he saved a coureur de bois. Very nice economic treasure at this point, so early in the game. The unfortunate thing of using your wolf to fight at this point, of course you can say like, okay, I want to damage the other guys as much as possible, or maybe even try to run away, but at this point in the game, or at that point actually like a minute ago, you know that the Iroquois must have at least one converted unit, and it is for sure a wolf or maybe a bear or even a rifleman or something like that. So actually I would have preferred if he just fought with his hero, walked back more towards this side for example, and then use his wolf later on to revive his hero, because as we see now it has 150 HP almost, and that means that you can revive it if you walk here with your wolf, and then you have a hero again and you can use it to scout, and you need it later in battle anyway. We see that SnsJack advanced to the second age, colonial age, and he's still gathering the wood for a warhead. He is doing this fire pit dance, of course that is for additional XP. And there we have a warhead coming up. It looks like an economic build, a very defensive warhead, just building it with one villager only. Is still, of course, bringing in this second hunt to his town center, and so is Nagayumi here. Nagayumi also going for a very defensive ward. Of course, he does have to build it. He can age with Trava, and he chooses to age up with the slow age up here. You see that, of course, because he aged up later, but also because of these resources together with the age up. That means that he still has the fast age up available for if he goes to the fortress age. And I think actually that both of them. Well, we have 700 wood here from the Aztecs, so we'll have to see how this plays out. He could go for a trading post. But maybe both of them are trying to go for some kind of semi-FF build. Meanwhile, we saw that Nagayumi also picked up the 95 wood that was somewhere over here on the map. That only leaves the scout as one of the good treasures on this map, and then we have here some smaller 170 coin and the 2 sheeps that don't matter that much. Nagayumi, of course, can still pick up the 70 XP that's left over from the little skirmish earlier on. Interesting that he is not really scouting the Aztecs. Oh, actually he scouted with his bear, sorry. That's then better, it's more than expected. Of course, scouting is so important in strategy games. Scouting good is like half the way of winning the game, if not more. You have to know what your opponent is doing so you can adapt to it accordingly, and else you get surprised. We see some coyotes coming out, so SnsJack is just gonna try to raid a little bit and then probably age up in the back of it. I really would like to see him building a trading post if he ships 700 wood, to be honest. But yeah, okay. The Iroquois is gathering some gold there, and that means that he is definitely going for a third age, because otherwise you don't have to gather so much coin with your 5 villages there. Because all Iroquois units cost only food and wood. Unlike the Aztecs, they have Mesot villages which cost food and wood, but the pikemen cost gold and food. Anyway, we have been reviving his hero there, and Nagayumi gonna try to attack it again with, of course, 1,000 black knights, as you see over here. However, there are, of course, still there's only 1 left now, and there's a SnsJack should take. We see that Nagayumi is up with Prava, now the fast one, so 645 or something being fortress. That's of course very, very strong. And then he converts it into a stable, and that means that he now has the ability to make both infantry and cavalry. Market coming up as well. And this hero is going to be able to run away from this, if he does so correctly. He has to be very careful though, because there is the rifleman, and Nagayumi is now going to use it, and it shoots of course 40 damage, so it may be that, yeah, I think he's going to lose. Yeah, he knows he loses his hero, so he's just going to fight the rifleman. He was probably not able to escape from it, so anyway, the war priests are shipped here for SnsJack, just to increase this rate of the fire pit dance. And there we have 5 dragoons coming out from Nagayumi, but of course SnsJack, kind of expecting this fast forward, has stopped coyote production, because they're not that useful at this point anyway. Another warhead coming up as an additional defense. I would really like to see these bisons being herded more towards this town center and not so far to the back, because it's easier to raid this. And also maybe use just 1 villager to start bringing in the second hunt, because so far there's not so much pressure. And from now on, the Iroquois will only build up the pressure to an extent at where you only can defend in your base and not even get out on the map anymore. So have to see if this hunt is going to be enough. Still no trading post, of course. So yeah, because he maybe built because of the second warhead, and now he's going to make a little bit of a wall there. I would really like to see the wall like an inch closer to this area, so that you can still gather from the gold mine with the villagers over here, but that the units can walk a little bit closer and that the warhead can still attack them. You don't need to have this distance between units and the warhead to prevent the units from sieging the warhead. Anyway, he made some forest powder, and I believe that he shipped some as well. So of course, the Iroquois hero boosting the HP, and the Aztecs hero boosting all the XP you get from killing units. Unfortunately, SnsJack doesn't have his hero. Then he can of course revive it here, but he's not doing so. Not even with 1 coyote. Actually waiting for him to 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. He's making more priests now with the fire pit. And he's losing 1 villager there with to the forest prowlers. Of course, one of the strongest skirmishes in the game, if not the strongest. 160 HP with the hero boost and 20 attack. It's very strong. Nagayumi are working on this hunt, of course, and there are no more coyotes trying to slow down Nagayumi's economy. So SnsJack is going in full defense mode here. and that means that Nagayumi is now gonna try to push on this more. Of course, he has scouted this herd, so he knows that these are here and that he must be herding on that side of the map. Trying to scout the outsides of the base, maybe see if there's something on this gold mine or not, but there was no villager there. And now we see that SnsJack is going to move his villagers to this herd on the left side. Still not bringing in this one, unfortunately. But he's bringing up some Mazel tin now. I'm really curious if he's going to try to battle the Iroquois in the second age. He's now bringing up these Minutemen, but one hit by these forest prowlers and they die, as you see over there. It was a Mazel tin in fact, but you see here quite good micro from Nagayumi, not taking any damage but still taking out these units there. These are like the Minutemen from European civilizations, 200 HP, and they degenerate in HP over time. Of course, it's a nice way to delay any push because you can get them for free, only to task your fire pit on it. However, it's only like a real temporary thing, because you see now that he's gonna lose one war priest. Yes, there was not a low HP one there, but that man survives. And there we have the villages. He's gonna be missed by Nagayumi, but of course Nagayumi was probably busy with his micro, and because SnsJack didn't hurt this yet, Nagayumi probably didn't see or scout it, so that means that he's not expecting any villagers to be there when he runs by it. These on the trees have to be very careful. Of course, SnsJack sees that Nagayumi is running the other way, but anyway, one more war priest picked up there. And this warhead, I'm not sure if it's microed, but it damages a lot of these forest prowlers. I would like to see him using the alt key as I do here. He probably is very busy with other stuff, but then you can see low HP units and you can task the warhead, focus fire the warhead on the low HP units, and thus decrease the total output damage of Nagayumi there. Villager still gathering wood there. Of course, he has some food here available, and he's now making skull knights from his fire pit, it seems. He has 3 over there, and he aged with the 2. I have to see what he's doing. Of course, these men are now all on low HP. Nagayumi is just fine with this. I mean, his economy is quite good. I'm expecting him to... Did he ship the village? Yes, he did ship the village after 600 coin. So he has a quite good economy, and he has total map control. And as you see here, denied SnsJack a little bit from resources. There, one more village goes down by SnsJack. And a second one, in fact, I'm not sure why he's gathering from the trees there, where you have trees all here, but... there are 2, 4, 6 skull knights now. These are skull knights, by the way. 2, 4, 6, 7 skull knights. Interesting. Of course, if you have a big group of skull knights, you might be able to do something. But then again, Nagayumi has such a big mass, and if he micros correctly with the dragoons, the forest prowlers, and the tomahawks coming in as well, he has all range resistance. I mean, all ranged units, so he can micro and just split up so that he doesn't take that much damage from a skull area damage. And also, of course, the tomahawks in front do still okay-ish if they block the tomahawks with their 0.2 melee resistance. Anyway, if he's going to be able to mix in cavalry together with the skull knights, that would be really nice, because then the forest prowlers can't really run away because the cavalry is there. And if then so there he is going to mix in coyotes, and he also upgraded to 80 coyotes, so that might be his choice to go for unit composition. There you see it, a lot of coyotes being shipped there. So it's coyotes, and it's kind of the German composition of Udens and Doppelsoldner. You come with both units in melee mode, and that means that every unit actually has to run because of the crazy Doppelsoldner, in this case the skull knights. However, now Nagayumi sees this, and he already picks off... No, he doesn't. I thought he was going to pick off... He hit the coyotes. That's actually a very good job here, and he's leading a charge with these low HP units, so that if Nagayumi uses attack move, it's going to be very useful. And there we see now that the Mazel tin are going to be targeted on the tomahawks, but the coyotes should be moved towards the forest prowlers actually, and the skull knights would be better off targeting the tomahawks, in my opinion. Anyway, good game. The problem is that Nagayumi had just way too much of a mass, and he did pretty good job at first using attack move when he walked back. Then of course hitting the front units that SnsJack put nicely in front there to take the damage, but later on he focused fight on the skull knights, and he took down 1 or 2 already. There you see one on the dead before they really engaged in this army, and now you see that all skull knights are dead as well, having only the hero and a few coyotes left, but there's too much mass in the back of this, and 2 skull knights left here, sorry, 3 actually, but there's too much mass in the back of this, and also the coyotes kind of came in a little bit later. That's of course good, because you want to surprise him. On the other hand, they came all in from the same side, and they were kind of blocked off by the tomahawk, so that was a little bit unfortunate there. So that means that Nagayumi take this first game 1-0. Take the match 1-0 by winning the first game. That is, and then I'll wait for an invite for the next one. The main thing was just that the map control for Nagayumi being able to gather freely without being disturbed there, and of course a little bit better village account led to his great economy. And of course he also has a trading post. That means as Iroquois with a trading post, you can ship a lot of units. And the Aztecs, not having the hero early on, didn't add that much in the end. Of course, Iroquois got twice the 100 XP. That's actually quite a lot, but there were not that many fights, so the XP gained from the hero early on, or actually missed otherwise, is not so much an issue here. And later on he had his hero again when there was the real big fight, but then it was over rather fast there. So we saw that Tsurugi Ugiratu was casting this for the Japanese community. He is also streaming on Twitch, I believe. I'm not sure what exactly his Twitch name is. But I thought first that Shimras was going to cast it, but I think Shimras is maybe playing a little bit himself, because after this, guys, after Nagayumi versus SnsJack, we will have a Shimras versus Fart coming up. If I say it correctly. Or do I miss one? Yeah, I think it's Shimras versus Fart coming up after this match. And of course that's going to be very, very interesting as well. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, because Nagayumi is quite better than SnsJack, I feel. But both are interesting matches, and of course always nice to see Nagayumi play. I think it's the first time that they casted something from him, at least in this tournament. So, but I really expect him to still go to the next round, and probably in the finals. The only thing is that he's going to meet H2O before the finals, I believe. And that means that of course they're going to knock each other out. And that means that only one of them can go to these finals. Finals between H2O and Nagayumi would probably be the best finals, I think. Anyway, we're going to hop into the second game. It is going to be Saganay. And there we have Nagayumi playing his Japanese. He has one of the best Japanese, of course, maybe a good contender for H2O, because H2O, as you all know, probably was able to win the WCG back in 2008 with his very strong Japanese builds and playstyle, micro decision making, etc. But Nagayumi has really a strong Japanese play as well. SnsJack, on the other hand, going for Saganay, going for China on Saganay, so he's hoping for the additional house, of course. If you all missed that kind of discussion thing, definitely check out the game on my YouTube. That is SnsJack versus Gungun. It was a very interesting game, and SnsJack managed to win that somehow versus Ottomans, while it looked like a lost game from like minute 6. Anyway, we now have Nagayumi versus SnsJack, Japanese versus China. I think they are probably the best civilizations that they both play. So the best that Nagayumi's best civilization is Japanese, and SnsJack's best civilization is probably Chinese. So interesting matchup as well. I would give the upper hand a little bit to Japan. However, it is quite close still. We have no house or what is it called? A village for China, which also functions as a livestock pen. We have a free plantation there for both parties. So regarding the map, both of them of course need gold in this matchup. So that means that it's more important to take a look at the gold mines here. You see one there for Nagayumi, a little bit in the back, a little bit further, but in the back is very nice. And the second one over there. The one from SnsJack is a little bit in front, but he has a second one a lot closer and also in the back. So that's a little bit of an advantage for him there. And then we see, of course, this is the good scouting that you can expect from high-level players. Of course, he does have an extra scout there available, but like I mentioned several times now, on Saganay, also always scout your top part, because there is a hidden mine or hunt in 99% of the cases. Of course, for SnsJack there's no hunt, but there's only a mine. Anyway, we have here the Japanese guy. I will briefly describe his hunts, but they're not as important, as I will come to in a second. One herd on top, the starting herd there, and then he has the second and the third here. And SnsJack has one there, second one there, third one here. So it's actually looking quite good for SnsJack. He has enough hunts available, and he can herd this one pretty well to his town center. Of course, the Japanese guy doesn't really need herds like the other civilizations do. As you see, SnsJack is China, so he's gathering food from animals. Japanese don't do that. Japanese build shrines. Let me see, here's a shrine coming up. You will place it near animals, and then these animals are going to be lured to these shrines and going to be tasked on it to a maximum of 4. And as soon as you reach that maximum, you will have the maximum amount of income that you can get from a shrine. And you can task it on any resource that you want. And there you see it. Currently 1 animal tasked on it. It's going to be moved in this fixed position. And that is the income for Nagayumi, for Japanese guys. For guys playing Japanese civilization, of course, and not for guys coming from Japan. Anyway, that's a huge source of income, and of course it's really hard to rate it because you can't really... yeah, you need a lot of siege damage to take down a 1600 HP house. It also functions as a house, by the way. Anyway, we see that we have a little bit of a fight over here, and look, that's very unfortunate. Japanese is gonna take it. SnsJack not paying attention, I think, losing 90 food there to Nagayumi. Of course, Nagayumi, you can put your house everywhere on the map where there is food. And where did he put it? Next to a 90 food treasure, and that's a very smart decision because he can then scout the map afterwards. And if he sees that SnsJack is going for this treasure, he can come back as he did now, and then even try to steal it, and he was successful in that. It's of course better to put the house there than for example here where there is no treasure at that point in the map. So good choice there by Nagayumi. Of course, Japanese starts with 2 heroes, and the Chinese guy starts with 1 hero and 1 disciple, trying to be a hero but not there yet. And the hero of the Chinese guy is a little bit more HP, as he has only 1. Nagayumi, shortly about the build order. Starting off with consulate, very standard. You can get it to Portuguese and then get cheaper shrines, cheaper buildings, cheaper age up, and that means that your Toshogu shrine, which is now going to be built here and not being built anymore by a villager because he wants to get any resources possible to sneak in a few more shrines. He's going to build a big shrine here now for 680 food because of the ally with the Portuguese, and that means that he will get this big shrine up later as the wonder to the 2nd age, and then get a lot of resources as well. A 2nd shrine coming up here, also nice positioning again, kind of covering this 150 coins, so you can see when SnsJack will go for it. And these sheep are still not found by anyone, and we still have 150 food over there, of course. And SnsJack has to be really careful with his hero because it's already on half HP there. One nice ability that the Japanese heroes have is that they can do this poof thing, and then they can disappear and end up at their town center any time of the day. So if they're on very low HP, they can just save themselves like that. It's a unique ability that not any other guy has. The sheep, by the way, are interesting for China because he can test them to his houses, his villages, as you see over here, so they will fatten faster over time. But they're also interesting for Japan because they will increase the gather rate from these shrines by more than an animal. So if you have more sheep, you will have a slightly better economy as Japan. So that's why it's also important for him to get these. We have a dog there. I'm not sure. No, he can't go for it. He can't go for a pirate. If these would be too riflemen, he could go with full health, but it's too risky still. So he's still waiting there, probably waiting for Nagayumi to build another shrine so he can damage the hero as he's doing now. And he is gonna find 1 sheep and a 2nd one there as well. I'm not sure what this village is doing so far out on the map, but we have to see about that. Anyway, he is aging with the Summer Palace. He's probably gonna go for a fast fortress. That is very standard for Japan. It's really the point in the game where China excels. Fortress Age is the period of China, or as you all know, of course, the Old Hand reforms in the 4th Age. Actually, this game is going to be interesting. Japan is a little bit OP is a big word. It's not like Iroquois, but it's a little bit close to OP anyway, in my opinion. And the thing is that because of this matchup and the ability for China to go fast fortress, we might see a very long game here on this map, where we might even see for the first time China using the 4th Age option and on Old Hand. But anyway, there's a lot of speculation. We have to see how that turns out later. Japan, of course, in the 1st Age, or actually, Japan has the option to ship boats. By the way, more shrines coming up here, so that's very, very standard. Just hold on, quick check here. Nagayumi does not have 3 boats in his deck in the 1st Age. He does have the ship boat, so that is a 3 boat from his consulate allying with the Portuguese. Of course, very nice, hard to rate, so good food there. What we see here is SnsJack is not going for a fast fortress. He has a Rex here, and he ships pikemen. So what he actually wants to do is he can still go for a Fortress Age later on, but he chooses to damage the Japanese a little bit on earlier. So probably some pressure with Sioux new pikemen, as you see over there. just to kill off some of these shrines and use the Chukonus a little bit to harass the villages of the Japanese guy. We see a very nice town here by Nagayumi, blocking everything with the wonder, the consulate, the already existing plantation, a rice paddy for the Asian civilizations, and the market. So it's really hard for the Chinese guy to move in here. And we also see 2 Rexes coming up, and we see 5 Yumis. Of course, these guys play more with each other, so I think that's why Nagayumi changes it up a little bit here. Anyway, he takes down this shrine that is a little bit of less economy for Nagayumi. And Nagayumi, knowing that there's no cavalry out, or kind of expecting that, is going to use the range of his Nagayumi to his advantage. 18 range versus Chukonu with only 16 range. So he micros a little bit and he killed off 1 Chukonu there. In the meantime, SnsJack used his hero also to get 150 coin there. And he's just going to have his fun there with killing off shrines around the map. Of course, shipping 8 pikemen and making a few gets you quite a good number of pikemen. They have very low HP, and regarding that, they're not the best unit, but they have a very decent attack both in siege damage and in hand attack versus cavalry. So for their cost, as you see here, just 60 wood equivalent. Of course, you make them in batches. It's still a very good unit, and there we see that 10 Yumis are now going to be pushing in here, and that means that SnsJack might even ship his 9 or 7 stepper riders. And that's of course something that Nagayumi expects as a good player, because he's now adding some musketeers as well. Interesting so far. No 7 step riders yet. He's rescuing, or actually evacuating his villager, because he doesn't want to get picked off by some Yumis or Ashigarus running by there. And more shrines coming up for a Japanese guy. Actually, this kind of a cat and mouse game here. Japanese guy, a lot of villagers on wood, and I expect his shrines, they're on food at the moment, but they were on wood before for sure. He's just gonna make a lot of shrines around the map, and if you destroy 1 or 2 shrines, it's actually not even that much of a problem for a Japanese guy, because he's just gonna build, you destroy 1 and he build another one. You will destroy this one and he will gonna build another one, actually they're already being in position. So he's now going to attack the Rex of the Chinese guy. By the way, that's always the kind of a trade-off. Do you want to go as China for a second age fight and pressuring a Japanese guy, or do you want to go for a fast fortress and use the better units that you got there? For example, the meteor hammers and the range of the arquebusiers to deal with the Yumi archers. Anyway, SnsJack chooses to go for this second age thing. Of course, he has these number of Chukonus now, but these Yumis are really strong, and he has to be very careful there. He's gonna get 1 Yumi there, and so far 1 Yumi for 1 Chukonu, of course, is a good trade for the Chinese any time of the day. He kills another shrine there, so he is still hurting the economy of Nagayumi a little bit. As I say it, Nagayumi will of course keep making shrines as he's doing over here, but of course these shrines, even though he still has the Portuguese consulate and also heavily Kami, that's the card that it decreases shrine costs, they still cost 75 wood. So it's not like it's a free shrine. But the thing is just that the time that you get by booming, so to say, is worth making another shrine, in my opinion. So anyway, he's now changing the batch army from the Summer Palace to the what's it called? I don't know how the army is called, but anyway, the 2 steppers and the Chukonus army. So the steppers also nice for raiding, but they have very good siege attack, as you see there. So he's gonna take out these 2 shrines as well. Not only important for, of course, slowing down the economy of Japan, but also having the resources still available on his side to gather here later on. And we see already that, as I pointed this out earlier, that the wonder from SnsJack was coming up, and the second barracks. Sorry, the barracks was killed here. I showed it before by the Ashigarus and the Chukonus. They killed off the barracks while he was working on these shrines over here. Of course, this BO from SnsJack allows him to kind of get up to the 3rd age faster than Nagayumi. You see that Nagayumi is aging as well, but Nagayumi had to rebuild some of his shrines to get his economy in place there. So he's a little bit later on in the 3rd age. So he upgraded, no he didn't upgrade his units, he has quite a few, but he got 10 arquebusiers from his age up, and he's now going to get the 150 food treasure also. Of course, using a stun ability on one of the bears to stun it, paralyze it, and then you focus firing on the other unit. A consulate coming up, that's quite late, but of course he was busy with the other stuff, and he's now also getting from his ships. It's a very fast income, of course. 300 food available, and you get it in a very short period of time. He's gonna work on another shrine here, but that means that Nagayumi will indeed try to prevent him from getting an easy shrine kill there, and at least gonna use his Yumis. Is he? No. Yes he is. Meanwhile, in the bottom we also have some more units killing these shrines, and actually I would like to see these stepper riders being focus fired on that hero so that he can't keep building shrines. I mean, if you kill it off there, then you'll definitely not, he can't really go back to home. Anyway, the disciplined Yumi there upgraded for Nagayumi there. He lost, no he didn't lose a shrine. He lost one shrine here, but he didn't lose the second one. This is of course a very hard army to push into as China. We've seen his matchup before, by the way. It was Guardia versus Legashtu. While Legashtu plays China pretty nice, I believe that the micro of SnsJack is going to be a little bit better. So this should be a closer matchup, although Nagayumi is of course a very good player. But anyway, some more shrines going down here, and you see that this one stepper rider, where was it? I saw one stepper rider there. There was one lone stepper rider somewhere. I believe it was scouting for the hero where he was going to build new shrines, because the hero walked all the way to the other side of the map, and he's now going to build new shrines again, and it starts all over. Anyway, Chinese shipped the meteor hammers there, and he is also making a batch of meteor hammers and iron flails. That's a cavalry batch from a Chinese guy, and I expect him to soon. Okay, he ships the Changdos. Actually, Nagayumi doesn't have a stable yet, so I would rather have him shipping the iron flails rather than the Chengdus. But Nagayumi, look at this, so many units out, and of course so many strong units. He now tests the consulate to Japan. He has built enough shrines on the map, although he lost some. And there we have some nice micro going on. Of course, Mirna being popped out to really win this battle convincingly. And there we have the pikemen blocking the Ashigarus. That's very nice. While the skirmishers are trying to take out the Ashigarus, and then the meteor hammer should go to the back here, as he's doing now. That's a good micro there. Of course, Ashigaru is immediately going to put a melee mode in the front row at least. Or not yet, they were just auto melee mode. And this is so many Yumis behind this. That means that it's going to be... Yeah, Nagayumi is definitely winning this, because he had so many Ashigarus blocking all these cavalry. And that's why I actually would have liked to, of SnsJack, to wait a little bit longer and at least wait for the 4 iron flail shipment to push in. He used also the musketeers from his consulate, which is tasked to British to of course also increase his hit points, and likewise the Japanese consulate increases the hit points of the... Oh wait, no sorry, it increases the attack of the units. But the Ashigaru's 204 HP is so much of a meat shield, so that these young Nagayumis with 27 damage, and of course bonus versus pikemen, can do a lot of damage in the back still. So this... There was a small army here dealing with the shrines, but we see already that there are 2 more shrines up there, 2 more shrines up there, and 1 more shrine up there. And indeed, the shrines are now tasked to gathering wood. So 27 damage for a unit in the third age. That's very strong. He has to be really careful. I think he has to go back. He can't engage this yet. He needs more anti-cavalry. I mean, more cavalry, and he also needs more skirmishers. He can micro a little bit with the range of these arquebusiers. It's 20 versus 18, but it's really, really hard. And as soon as the humans get shots off, I mean, the arquebusiers die quite fast, and they only have like this noob 16 attack versus Yumis, instead of Yumis having 27 attack. He is, however, going for it. He has, of course, the rocket available, and then Nagayumi still doesn't have any cavalry yet. So we have to see how much damage. Yeah, that's a nice shot there. Of course, if he's able to test the rocket like a cannon for the European civilizations on a big group of units, it will do the most damage and will be the best there. So the cavalry is not taking the best path. He should really move it back. There are too many Ashigarus in front. I don't like this. He should move it to the back. He's doing that with his 1 cavalry there. And now these Ashigarus are going to be focus fight on this cannon. I would like to see them in melee mode actually, which is something he's going to do now, I believe. Anyway, this battle is still going quite equal. He's now using the arquebusiers to take out the Ashigarus, of course, because you want to have this cannon alive as long as possible. You also want to have this cannon targeting this group instead of that group there. So he is doing so, and the cannon is still alive, but now, of course, charging with the cavalry while the Yumi are taking out the cannon. Yumi take out the cannon, but there's no anti-cavalry left, or only a few Ashigarus. Immediately being put in melee mode here to make sure they deal with the cavalry as best as possible. But of course, this big infantry mass in the back is going to deal with these Ashigarus pretty fast, and that means that he's gonna... look at these Yumis. I mean, these are like 20 Yumis, and these are 20 Yumis with 31 attack even. He sent a Yumi card now. If these 20 Yumis focus fire on one of these cavalry, one of these iron flails or meteor hammers from the Chinese guy, that means the Yumis will take it out with 1 shot. If they all hit one of these cavalry, they take it out. The problem with the Chinese cavalry is that they have quite low HP. They have a pretty decent damage, but their HP is so low, and that's really a problem versus Japan. That's also a problem why you need to really micro your cavalry around to not take so much fire from the Ashigarus, and really make sure that you if there are like 5 Ashigarus here in melee mode, then pull these cavalry back to the left side and walk around it or something. Because if you take so much damage from an Ashigaru, as you see here, 14 times 3.5, it's really crazy output damage, then they won't live long enough to do their damage versus versus Yumis. Nagayumis, actually I just realized the word, how you say that, word coincidence or whatever here. Nagayumi, you going for the Yumis. Anyway, I'm not sure why he, if it means something in Japanese. Naga, not sure, I have to ask that later. So, that means that Nagayumi wins the second game as well. So it's going to be a 2-0 for him so far. Of course, it is still round of 16, and that means that we are playing a BO5, and that means that the first guy getting to a 3 game win, no matter 3-1, 3-2 or 3-0, is going to advance to the next round, and that is going to be, of course, the round of 8, if we are now playing the round of 16. Next map going to be Siberia. It means, by the way, that since Nagayumi played both Iroquois and Japan, and won with both of them 2 tries in a row, he can't play any more of these expansion civilizations or Ottomans. Just to get this clear here, because of the last the confusion that we had last time in the previous game. So that means that he has to go for either Sioux, oh actually that's oh, I think he will go Sioux. Sioux is not included in this rule, I believe, nor is Aztecs. Or is Aztecs? I'm actually not sure. I have to check it later. So but I'm pretty sure Sioux is not included, and of course I think that Nagayumi is going to go Sioux then. You can go for European civilization, but why would you go for it if you can win easily with Sioux and still go for this $500 bonus by winning, by not losing any game? At least you want to try to go for that if you can. SnsJack sometimes has some router issues, so he's probably restarting again. So we have to wait here for a second. Okay, Nagayumi is now also offline. That is probably a restart from his side, so that there might not be any blocking, any connection issues going on between the two of them. And there he is back again, so we will soon get this next one started. Yeah, it's a really hard thing going for the second age or not. To be honest, I'm still not 100% sure. I'm still not 100% sure, because the thing is, you want to decrease the Japan economy, because if you go for a fast fortress, then you really sacrifice a little bit in your own economy, because you don't have a market up, or later you don't do the upgrades, and Japanese guy is just going to make shrines everywhere on the map, and he doesn't even have to make units early on, because you will go for a fast fortress. On the other hand, as you see here, now he went for a second age plan, and then you have a market up, you can get a little bit more of an economy going out, some more villages, etc. But he had no trading post, I believe, and he also killed some shrines. But then again, Japanese, like I said, doesn't really care about it, because he's just gonna make 75 wood shrines again while you're busy killing off some of the other shrines. So it's really I'm really not sure yet. I have to think about it a little bit more. Or maybe we have to ask some of the other players here, but It's really hard. So I believe we still have some connection issues here going on. Just waiting here for that to be fixed. By the way, for everyone that just tuned in later, welcome. Good morning if you are in America, good afternoon if you are in Europe, and good evening if you are in Japan. And if you are somewhere outside on the like New Zealand or whatever, it's probably going to be good night for you. Anyway, we have currently SnsJack taking it up versus Nagayumi, and Nagayumi is leading 2-0 in this best of 5 in the round of 16 of the PK TAD tournament. And afterwards we will have a crazy Sunday with more matches coming up. Shimras versus Fart, Chell versus Heroes, Goodspeed versus Chusik as well, I believe, and maybe one more match that I missed at the moment. But then I will for sure get back to it. Anyway, a very nice agenda. You can also check it out on pkclan.net website, and there's a little schedule placed there. It looks like there are still connection issues at the moment. I assume they are working on it. Okay, they have still some connection issues, I believe. He says now wait, so they might restart their routers or something to fix this issue. So I'm just waiting patiently here on what's going on. Guys, still waiting here for this to be fixed between them with the issues of connecting. Oh yeah, Lord Imperialist versus Calvis. We may have that also also later on, but that depends because I believe they're gonna play at like 3 AM or something. No. Oh wait. Okay, I got confused there. So hold on guys, next match is coming soon, next game is coming soon of the match. Currently Nagayumi is up 2-0 versus SnsJack. He only has to win one more game and then he will advance to the round of 8. Still waiting for this to be fixed, guys. Soon we will jump into this third game, and afterwards we have the match of Shimas versus Fart, Chal versus Heroes, Chusik versus Goodspeed, and maybe Calvis versus Lord Imperialist as well tonight, but not sure about that one. Looks like they still have some connection issues, which are at the moment trying to be fixed. Okay, guys. So yeah, I was suggesting the possible game ranger option there. If we have to wait for this too long, of course, it might be easier than to keep restarting routers, rejoining, etc. Anyway, it seems now that we are in the game all together. Third game of this matchup between Nagayumi and SnsJack, and there, as predicted, Nagayumi goes for Sioux. Of course, SnsJack, having not won a game yet, has no restrictions, so he can go any civilization that he wants. Nagayumi has won with Iroquois and Japan, so he can play any... how should I say this to make it clear? He can't play... No, it's not like he can't play any expansion civilizations. He can't play Japan, China, Iroquois, Ottomans, or India. So that's it. Yes, that's it. So he can play Sioux, and that's what he's gonna do, of course, because Sioux is actually a very strong civilization as well. Not sure how well they will do versus China. Of course, the bow rider having so much HP and Chinese unit is not the best, so yeah, might work. But anyway, it is still one of the best. No, one of the best. It's like top 5 civilization if you play it well. If you play it well, that's very important because Sioux is not easy to play, I think. Of course, you can all make bow riders, but there are some civilizations that are able to counter it. So making the right decisions of when to raid, when to push out, and maybe even age up, etc. That is not the easiest thing. However, it's a strong civilization, so let's see how this is going to play out. If Nagayumi wins this, he will go 3-0 and then advance to the next round. And of course, if SnsJack is able to win this, then it will be 2-1, and then we will see another game, of course, in this match. So, map is Siberia, a third map in the series. In case we need a fourth and a fifth, it's going to be New England and Yukon in that order. For now, Siberia. I like this map a lot. It is, I would say, a little bit Chinese favorite here. I mean, you have, of course, the easy defense with the tower, as we all know by now. The tower, unfortunately, is in the back of SnsJack. It is in a better position for Nagayumi, on the other hand, his gold mine is also then further. But you have a tower that helps firing at any units here. And usually you can still go in gather at a gold mine in the back. However, there's no gold mine in the back for Nagayumi, and there is one in the back for SnsJack. So a little bit better gold there for SnsJack. Regarding food, there's one herd here close, of course. The other ones are 1, 2, and the third is quite far. For SnsJack, 1 close and 1, 2, but the third one is also quite far. So usually we see a little bit better hunts for both players, but anyway, since both have not the closest hunts, it is quite fair, I would say. This map, of course, has a lot of very nice treasures that we have to keep an eye on. That doesn't mean 30 coin, however, or a macaque, of course, is nice, and additional scout and stuff like that, but I mean more like the treasures, for example, as well, 80 food is nice, 50 wood or 40 wood. This one is nice, 90 wood. Here you can see all the treasures on the map if you take that one, and there we have another. Okay, we have a lot of small wood treasures here that are easily, you can easily pick them up. Doesn't take much to kill these guardians, and of course Sioux can also convert one of the guardians. A little bit more about Sioux here, because I think most of you are not that familiar with the civilization. We are playing the RE patch, and that means that bow riders are kind of OP. However, in 1-on-1 it's a little bit easy to deal with it in some ways, compared to, for example, a team game. But the basic thing is that the bow riders kind of counter everything, even though they are a dragoon kind of unit. So what you need is like mass skirmisher with some pikemen, or else if you don't have anti-cavalry, just mixes in some X-riders. Or you need a lot of musketeers, stuff like that, to deal with it. China, of course, doesn't have musketeers, so he will go for semi-FF, I assume. And the problem with bow riders is they have so much HP and a decent attack that they just like live forever, so to say. So they even do well versus skirmishers and even versus musketeers. We see a little bit of a skirmish going on, and SnsJack is going to be able to rescue this family of monkeys. He scouted this before, I believe, and he saw, of course, that Nagayumi was working on it. And that means that he has a nice group of monkeys to gather like every treasure on this map, because the monkey combined with the hero and the disciple, and maybe even another macaque here, is definitely able to take it out. Of course, the monkey is not as good as the macaque, I believe. Or is it different? The pet, do with the pets. I'm not sure who is better. Anyway, he is gonna take the Panda Cup as well. Of course, this is also nice XP, but the Panda Cup will even get you a better army. to, for example, take down this one. He hasn't scouted this yet, but 30% hero increase hit points is good for as well for both Sioux and China. Both Sioux and China. I'm sorry, your English pronounced it different. 80 food still there, and what does he do? He is going to convert one of these guardians, I think. This is a very nice treasure for Nagayumi if you can get this. And by the way, the Sioux hero, of course, will increase speed of all nearby units. And then we have had XP for the Aztecs, HP for the Iroquois, and speed for the Sioux guy. So there he tamed the panda, and the panda Peter is pretty strong, as you see there. Of course, for his guardians as well, 50 attack, but also it will do nice. This little army is like an additional protection from cavalry. As soon as he needs anti-cavalry, he can throw in this army and block the X-Riders for that. If you see here, 350 HP, 0.1 melee resistance. So this one will live quite some time. The Sioux guy is converting this Masterless Samurai, also very nice treasure guardian, and now gonna pick up, and as you see here, 650 HP so far, and it will be even more of a difference in the second and third ages, of course. He is now gonna harass this villager. Usually, of course, all these treasure guardians or monkeys don't do that well versus villagers because of negative bonus. However, if you have like a complete zoo over here with all the monkeys and the pandas and whatever is to come, maybe an additional tiger, then no tiger, of course, because he can't convert it. But anyway, then you will still be able to do some damage versus a villager. So Nagayumi is bringing in this hunt, and he for now leaves this hunt over here, and he's not gonna work on it. There we have another monkey. That one is gonna... No, he barely gets away on time. So Summer Palace coming up, pretty standard. This time he doesn't really need to harass any houses because Sioux doesn't have houses. You can start with 200 population for free, and you don't need to make houses all game. Trading post coming up for Sioux. Of course, the Sioux guy also had like... Okay, no wait, yeah, he just had 50 wood. SnsJack had 90 wood. 140 wood effect. There we see, by the way, now it's 900 HP for this hero, and SnsJack is gonna get 90 wood as well. So that is 200. Wait, 50 and 40 and 40. Yes, it's 190. So 280 wood. Very nice there. That is of course a trading post if he wants to go for a trading post, and now he's gonna get this little showing him all the locations, but there are not many good treasures left. I mean, this is not that useful, this is not that useful, this is still nice, but it's quite far and it's in the line of sight of a trading post. So of course the 400 food from the age up there, and he gets a lot of coin. That's weird. He ships 700 coin of course to age up, but I mean, SnsJack, he already got 30 coin from a treasure. It could be that he had all his villagers on foot and now was just like with 6-7 villagers gathering it on coin so far. Anyway, he is going to go for the fast fortress, and we see that the Sioux guy in the meantime is taking all the trading posts. Let me see how he plays this out. He has no card for a trading post, but just making them. So he ships 700 wood for sure. There you go. Although, no, this is just wood gathering, I think. Not sure actually. Didn't look steep enough for it to be a 700 wood thing, but we'll see. Anyway, the trading posts are built for him, and he now has 3 trading posts and not upgraded yet, but he's probably going to do it anytime soon. And there you can also get this 80 wood treasure there on the side. A wonder coming up for a Chinese guy here, so definitely the fast fortress. Sioux doesn't have a stable yet. I also think that he might go for a fast fortress. Yeah, there we have it, 600, 700 coin. It's kind of, yeah, with all the training posts that you have as Sioux, you should really go for the fast fortress here. The Sioux, of course, has the bow riders, which are like anti-cavalry, but also do well versus pikemen, so you don't really need skirmishes out, of course, if you manage to get some. Actually, I think he will go for the main combination of Wakina rifles and bow riders, because bow riders do pretty decent versus anti-cavalry like musketeers and pikemen, but Wakina rifles do even better. And then at some point, I expect him to later on mix in some of these dog soldiers, and that's something that really SnsJack has to be careful about, because dog soldiers are really, really strong. We have them here, 3 in the third age and 2 in the second age, and you can also make them from a fire pit later on if you want to. But they have like insane HP, and they do, what is it, 30 or something times 3 bonus versus any infantry unit, no matter skirmisher, musketeer, whatever. So that's really good there. Another small 45 coin there for Nagayumi. And now SnsJack, of course, having his wonder on 1 army badge, is gonna try to take out this trading post a little bit here. Nagayumi can't do much against this for now. Of course, he can use his hero and fight this off, but that's not the best trade, especially since this additional army that SnsJack has from the treasures. 700 wood being shipped, so a consulate coming up. He already had a market. Another house, of course, being made because he now wants to make a lot of units. Align with the British, of course, for the musketeers as anti-cavalry later for the Sioux. And he is now going to take this trading post out for sure. Actually, all the treasures are already taken, and we had no really OP treasure. We had like the 30% hit points for Nagayumi, but there was no such thing as like the 205 food, the 475 food, or the 360 XP that you sometimes see on this map. So nothing like that. He's also going to take a trading post now, and we see that did Nagayumi upgrade it? No, he didn't upgrade it yet. He just wanted the XP and not invest any more in it. Of course, Sioux doesn't have like the best economy, and he is going for the typical, I would say, Nagayumi build. I've seen this a couple of times. I even played versus it myself once. It is quite hard because he's going to mix in both forest prowlers, Wakina rifles and bow riders or rifle riders, even if you make them money musketeers. So he has a pretty good third age combination, and also the fire pit going down, and that means that he will gonna use this later on to increase the output of his army. So we have to keep an eye on this. As soon as we see on this scoreboard here an icon of the axe, you will have Nagayumi working on the fire pit to increase his output, and he will do it definitely in a big battle. And then you have some crazy output damage for the Sioux units. And of course, the good thing that he builds his fire pit here is he also shipped the bison, as you see over here, so he doesn't have to go all the way on the map to get all the resources. And that means that he can really easily change his units from gathering food to going to the fire pit. On the other hand, if he would, for example, be gathering here, he can't just walk them back all the way over here. It would take too long. And now he can switch really easily, so that's a very good thing there. It's kind of well thought of shipping the bison now also, instead of going for example, this herd, because this herd is not that far, but it is, I mean, to the war hut you can still hide in it, but it's quite far from the fire pit, so you have to take all these things into account. We see 9 machinas being shipped here and some being made, and there you have 20 damage, and watch that later on because it will greatly increase. Of course, the difficult thing for China here is that the machina rifles outrange the Chinese units. No, that's not correct, sorry. They have 18 range that outrange the Chukanus, but they don't outrange the arquebusiers. Sorry for that. A lot of gold, a lot of villages on gold there. Interesting. Anyway, he has some of these rifle riders in the back. They are a special kind of dragoons because they do well versus cavalry, but they also do very well versus any heavy infantry like musketeers from the consulate, for example, or pikemans. As you see here, 16 times 3 bonus damage. They're a little bit more costly, but very good overall. A wonder coming up for China, okay, in a very interesting position. I mean, he is fighting on this side. Why do you build your wonder on that side? It's really nothing. Just build it like over here or something. I don't get it. Anyway, he's just trying to take the battle a little bit, using the range of the arquebusier as best as possible to deal with these wakinas. Nagayumi, of course, having scouted this wonder now, has to make a decision what he's going to do. I think he's going to stay in the third age and mass a lot of units from there, trying to harass the China as much as possible. There we see he's even going to pick up some of these villages. I'm not sure why so many villages are building the wonder. They're totally unprotected. Anyway, some skirmish going on here. He's not using the range optimally. Oh, he's going to ship arquebusiers, that's a nice one, to defend this better. Of course, he's now skirmisher versus skirmisher, but since the Chinese guy has the upper hand here, this is not something that the Sioux wants to take at this point. However, actually the Sioux can take this, to be honest, because if the rifle riders would be used in battle as well, he could be targeting the musketeers. Of course, he doesn't want to throw these rifle riders away versus any arquebusiers targeting them. And there, SnsJack aged up with the White Pagoda, and that's a very interesting age up to the fourth age. The Temple of Heaven gives you a lot of villagers, which I like a lot as a huge economic boost, like 20 villagers or something. no, maybe not more like 15. Anyway, a lot of villagers. But now you get the disciples, and they will of course help out a lot versus any cavalry that Sioux is going to bring up to you, like dog soldiers and stuff like that. So, and there you have a rocket, of course, popping out from the wonder that he went up to the third age. And gets a very nice shot, and this is something Nagayumi can't engage yet, so he definitely has to wait for his dog soldiers or other X-Riders, this is the Sioux hand cavalry, to come in. Or maybe he can use some nice positioning and try to pick it up from the back. No, he is on time, and there you have a 3 dog soldier shipment, and there you see a 35 times 1.5 bonus versus any infantry with 687 HP. That's just insane. He really has to protect this cannon. Oh my god, he's not protecting this cannon nice. I had actually a dog soldier on the infantry, I had on the cannon, but he saw that the dragoons were on the cannon. And that was a very bad job in SnsJack protecting the cannons, but he is still able to take this so far with, of course, the Panda here working on the Wakina rifles as well. You see that the Wakina rifles are first trying to take out the disciples because they are doing the most damage from melee to them, and later working on the musketeers. And there we have another 4th age shipment in this case for SnsJack for the arquebusiers. He hasn't upgraded them yet. Of course, he doesn't have the resource or time to do so, but he might do it soon. And this is actually going to be a rough spot for Nagayumi. We also still have the option, of course, for the Chinese guy to go for the old Han army. We see that, of course, it is in this case nice to ship the arquebusiers because you have the range and can really benefit from it. But he does have the old hand card, and when you send the old hand card, your Chukonu and pikemen really get like OP insane strong, and you can just own every civilization if you get to that point. Also 2 rockets available, and you see both the different combinations that China can make. Chukonu and pikemen, or arquebusier and Chengdus. It's the similar army, but same but different, as they say in Thailand. Anyway, he still has the option to ship these and upgrade them. We have to see what he goes for. But the range of arquebusier is very nice because 20 range is very easily can very easily deal with these Wakina rifles. We saw that one of these rifle rifles picked off there. I think that Nagayumi left it there just to make sure that he had some scout there. I would have preferred him to leave one Wakina rifle there because, of course, it's less costly. And we see now that he's working on his. He had the fire pit tasked on his reviving his hero. It was somewhere dead over here during the battle. He now has his hero again with his army, and now he has 2 for 5 dog soldiers and 4 X-riders. So that's really hard. And SnsJack definitely has to ship anti-cavalry. Chengdos preferably because they're better without upgrades compared to the normal pikemen. And he is seeing this, so he should go back, and I expect. Oh, he shipped 2 rockets. Oh no, he shipped 2 rockets, and he doesn't have Minutemen yet. So we see that the musketeers are going to put in melee mode, but these dog soldiers are going to get good versus the musketeers as well because of their bonus damage. Anyway, some more disciples being made to block off anything. The rockets being used on the Wakinas, as you see there, and actually very nice market going on from both the parties here. Trying to pull some of these cavalry back, as you see by Nagayumi, but still he is able to take out these cannons with both the X-Riders and the Rifle Riders. And that means it's quite hard for SnsJack to deal with it. He dealt actually pretty nice with it because there's only 1 dog soldier and 2 X-Riders left. He is going for the Chukonu pikeman army, a very late Minutemen, as you see now. You see that he upgraded both the Chukonus and the pikemen to disciplined, so he will definitely upgrade them as well and go for the old hand army, I expect. And that is actually a very nice move. Only food and wood cost for this army, of course, compared to Chengdo and pikemen, and Chengdo and arquebusiers costing food and gold. He is able to pick off one of a few units there, but actually the villagers, maybe this one is going to die, but is he? Yes, no, he doesn't see it. Or no, he doesn't see it on time, so he's not going to die, and he has to be very careful. Yeah, he puts the villagers in the town center right on time. And if we take a look here, we see that the villager count is, he lost only like 39, he lost like 3 villagers and made 1 more. So the villager count is the same, and their rocket being used on the Wakinas again. The village count is the same. China still has 1 trading post and the Sioux has 2, and no upgrades yet there for the stagecoach thing. And actually the Chinese guy has not much food left. He has food here with his house, but he's not really gathering on it. And I think that would be the next point for Nagayumi to try to push on here. We see that now SnsJack is going to bring a villager there to herd that. And a second barracks coming up, so that means that we have 2 barracks pumping out pikemen. And there we see he shipped the pikemens, and he also upgraded the pikemen to honored pikemen. Honored is the same as guard for the European civilizations, and exalted is the 5th age upgrade, which is same as imperial. Anyway, he will probably then upgrade the Chukonu. Also, there we have it, honored Chukonus as well. And then watch at these stats, by the way, 144 HP and 7 attack. If he has the 1k food available, he will upgrade them with the Old Hand Reforms army, and then he will have really, really crazy units out. And then it's going to be really hard for Nagayumi to deal with this. And then he definitely needs to use his fire pit to get some attack boost with his army, I feel. It's interesting what Sioux can do from here. I'm thinking about the possible options, but maybe aging up as well, but it's really, really hard. And you give China more time to just get this mess out of Chukonu and Pikemen. Of course, he can stay in the 3rd age and mess some more dog soldiers and X-Riders, but he upgraded his X-Riders as you see now. But it's still going to be so hard for him. Anyway, he's pressuring on this point as I expected and said earlier, because this is the focus point for him. This is where the Chinese guy is getting food, so he needs to deny food gathering here. But look at how many pikemen. I mean, the pikemen, of course, can protect this cannon nice, while this cannon with 285 siege damage will definitely deal with these Wakinas. He did right on time, went in there, but these rifle riders were still able, look at this by the way, 6-time bonus versus artillery, they were still able to deal with this cannon, and that means that actually he can micro a lot versus this with his Wakinas, but he's not doing the best job, and now the pikemen are just attacking the Wakinas as well for melee in melee mode, so this is looking very hard for Nagayumi, and yeah, he just knows that at this point he can't get into this, and because he can't get into this army, he has no way of denying the Chinese guy from getting the food here, and that means that Old Hand Reforms is coming anytime soon. And as soon as that comes, then it's kind of game over from there. Yeah, so well played by SnsJack, going for the fast 4th age. And instead of the economy, maybe a bad choice indeed that he went for this pagoda and used some of the disciples. He had like 10 disciples, and they were really nice in blocking off the cavalry from Nagayumi at this point where there was a battle over here. And of course also upgrade your hero, by the way. Look at this 2300 HP, that did a lot of work also in this battle, taking up a lot of damage. So good job there. Nagayumi got most resources, of course. Chinese guy sacrificing a little bit there because of his fast 4th age. So that means that it's 2-1 for Nagayumi, and that means that we were going to go into the 4th game of this matchup. However, we don't know yet if that's going to be now or later, because of course we have to see how this plays out with these, how this will go about with these connection issues. Anyway, good job by SnsJack taking it now, taking a win there. Nagayumi also being a major general, as you see there, regarding his power rating in ESO. Very good player. I would say disciple or disciple. Oh wait, oh so disciple like that. Yeah, okay, disciple. Yeah, that's true. I now get what you mean. Disciple, but it's more like the I as in yeah. Okay, disciple. Yeah, that's true. This was not disciple. It's a disciple. That's the correct pronunciation. Okay. So, actually, I think that Nagayumi can't play Iroquois. No. Oh my god,
Yes.
I thought I had it figured out before, but apparently I'm getting confused. Okay. Okay, sorry for that. This is just you can play Arrow. Okay, good luck. Nagayumi, he can play Iroquois then. Actually, then how was it yesterday? Yesterday we had. Yesterday we had Boneng versus Salento. Then Boneng he won. How did he win again? He won with Iroquois versus Ottomans, and then he won with Japan, and with Russia versus Japan. So he won twice in a row. And then of course the game after was the game next after, so that's why he couldn't use Ottoman that game, but it was solved anyway. So since this is not the game right after it, but like 2 games after it, he can now use Iroquois again. So all the confusion aside. So indeed the following refers to the next match and not any following match in the series. So Nagayumi can play Iroquois, and that's what he's gonna do. So we have Iroquois versus Japan. SnsJack gonna play Japan here, Japanese. We see the orchard rickshaw, of course, going for some scouting because you start with berries as well. On a map without berries you start with 2 orchards, but on a map with berries you start with 1 berries and 1 orchard to make it a little bit more fair. 60 food can be picked up, and of course the consulate already, that means he will have to gather a little bit of wood to get out enough wood to build a house, and of course also food to keep his constant villager production. Iroquois going for a trading post. He's gonna miss it of course, but that's because you will miss the first one anyway, I believe. He didn't pick up any treasure, yes. He still has 80 food here, of course. Oh no, wait, it's a mature beer cup. And he is scouting with his Trava as well, of course, finding 95 wood there, very nice. He's probably gonna build his house somewhere over here, or maybe over here, to get some line of sight there. And to, later on, and to, of course, have the population needed. Oh, we also have 80 food here, by the way, and that's very nice. So, good treasure there on his side. He is gonna pick up a villager, as SnsJack it is. Of course, both these heroes have the stun ability, so both of them can stun these bears, and that means that they won't do damage for some time because they are paralyzed, confused, whatever, and that means that you can attack them without taking any damage. So a villager pickup is a nice economic boost there for SnsJack early on. Finding 2 sheeps. There are not many sheeps on this map actually, only 2 sheeps on his side. And 2 sheeps here not found yet by Nagayumi, and I believe I saw 2 more sheeps. There they are, but they're not on this town center yet. Oh, here are 2 more sheeps, by the way. Nagayumi converted one of these riflemen and now going for the second one. That means, of course, he can get this 95 wood. And I would assume that he will go for this one first before scouting the rest of the map. It would increase his age up time, and that means that any rush that he wants to pull off will be easy to do so. Iroquois has two options. He can either go for a fast fortress and play it out from there with the superior combination of dragoons, some Kenyas mixed in for Yumis, and the forest prowlers. On the other hand, you then also give Japanese some time, although you age up to like the fortress has in 6 minutes 50 or something. But you do give Japanese some time, and he might prefer to just rush Japanese guy and put pressure on him from minute 4 or so. Harass with some Kanyas perhaps, or at least with some Aenas, similar to what we, for example, saw Boneng do with Russia yesterday. Harassing with light infantry, that doesn't cost that much. He is going to go for a second trading post now that he found his 95 wood, so he's not going to take this treasure right away. And we see that SnsJack now going to make his cherry orchard over here, and also aging up, of course, translate to Portuguese. So just 680 food required to age up, and not using any building rotator, as you see. That's a little bit unfortunate. If the map would spawn different, then his building would be like in a horizontal line. He would have a better building positioning to block off any rush. Now it's vertical, that means that they're still between here and like this, the Iroquois can run in. Anyway, it's close to food, so this food will be able to be tasked on this wonder there to increase the income gathering from this wonder. And Nagayumi's hero is now going back to get this 80 food treasure after taking a second trading post. Of course, he's probably waiting for his conversion. Of course, if you convert this, you can't take it right now, but if you convert this hero, you will take less damage, and that's important. Of course, you want to keep our hero as long alive as long as possible. And there we have now SnsJack just having like 6 villagers on food. That is just enough to make a few more villagers. One more village at a time, and then the rest is on wood, together with the shrine, I believe, to just get more shrines up now. I don't know where his 2 heroes are. Oh, he's gathering another treasure there. That's good, but that means that you have to build your shrine with your villager, and that's slower. And actually, why he's building them not closer to this herd, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, he is here with his heroes trying to damage the Travar a little bit from the Iroquois, but he won't get it down, of course. And if he's really gonna siege it, then he won't be able to build shrines around the map. I don't like it. And of course, the Iroquois hero can even focus fire on the Japanese hero as well. He might. Okay, I think he was trying to block it, but he was not in time. Nagayumi barely got it up in time there, and he's also going for a third trading post now. He shipped 600 wood as a first card, so it's not an all-in rush, but it might still be a pressure build with just trading post and go from there. Or we have to see what he can do. He can also go for a trading post to have a lot of shipments in the third age, and then of course use the 600 coin afterwards to get up fast to the third age. He does have 600 coin in deck, so it's definitely an option. Anyway, SnsJack ages up, and he's going for a stable first. That's interesting. If Nagayumi would have gone for some kind of rush with tomahawks and some hyenas, then of course it would be really hard for SnsJack to pull back from this. But he of course saw that Nagayumi had 3 trading posts. That means one of 2 things. Like I said a minute ago, he knows that there's no hard rush incoming. Also, he knows that it's likely that Nagayumi wants to go for the 4th trading post as well as he's doing now. Upgrade it, and then might even go for fortress and play it from there. That means that SnsJack has a little bit more time. Market coming up as well, and of course 600 wood, pretty standard shipment as Japan first age. You want to get some other buildings up, and you want to get your shrines up as well. I would really like to see him building shrines on this side of the map as well, so 2 shrines here, for example, maybe even a shrine there, to really deny the food from Nagayumi. And we see, by the way, that the food is not the best for the Nagayumi. He has... Is this a herd here? There's 1 dead animal, but he has 1 herd over here, and actually he had the second herd for him, well, actually I guess this was the second because the first is already up, is all the way over here on the map. That's actually quite far. Compared to SnsJack, he has 1 there, 1 there, and he had the third one there, so the food is definitely a little bit better for SnsJack there. While of course the Iroquois needs it more because he has to gather from the animals. Anyway, he is on berries now. I'm not sure if he scouted this. He must have scouted this now, of course, with being at the line of sight of the house. So actually I would really have these villagers on this foot because it's so much faster. No market up yet though, so just trading posts. And now he's making some units, shipped his kanyas, so he's now going to work on these shrines from the Japanese guy. And there we have the Naginata is trying to take out the riflemen, but the kanyas are coming in there to save the day. A stable... Oh, hold on. I think he shipped the 4 kanyas and made now just 1 from the stable. Some tomahawks being trained as well. And it looks like after this shrine he's gonna make a house here for line of sight, and he can then work on this bringing this herd towards his town center. And there are 2 Naginatas coming in for a raid, and we have a little bit of a wall coming up here, so to defend his base. 2 more shrines here, so these animals are now going to be tasked on these shrines rather than on the big shrine. That's a little bit unfortunate because now this big shrine only has, of course it has 2 sheep on it, but it has like only 4 in total. That's less than it could have optimally. Anyway, some Yumis being trained as well, of course, to defend for this with town center fire. Town center should be focused fire on the Kanyas first, I believe, because they will be the biggest problem for Yumi. And I would really like to see him using his Yumi range more here, as he's now finally doing so. And he's crossbowman, of course, that's nice, but he has to be very careful. They are of course now still in range of all these hyenas, and you don't want that. You want to lure them more into this army, and he focused fire the town center on the hero first. That was of course a mistake of me. First take out the hero, then take out the most annoying unit, or the biggest damage dealer, in this case the Kanyas, and then take out the tomahawks probably, so that your Naginatas can do more damage versus these hyenas. He has called out 1 Minuteman, that's the pikeman one, to deal with these Kanyas. But he's not focusing his town center on the Kanyas here. And the Ashigarus are not in melee mode as well, or they are already dead. Now we have the other Minutemen popping out here to deal with these Kanyas, but it's going to be hard for SnsJack to deal with this. I would have liked to see him closing this wall up here so that he had a better place to hide. And now he can use his heroes here, and even some villagers look like to take out these units. Of course, as soon as he can get out the Kanyas and the tomahawks, new Naginata from him can kill these hyenas. So that's the main problem for him. These Nagayumi should now be target fired on these Kanyas. He's not gonna. Yeah, he is gonna do so, but 5 Yumis popping out. They should now be target firing the tomahawks, and I would expect him to have some Naginata coming anytime soon. This raid on the other side of the map is not doing much here. I believe he went to some villagers. And of course, Nagayumi has both a stable and a warrior up, so he can keep making Kanyas from here. And a lot of villagers in the town center, of course, being idle, and not so many shrines on the map for SnsJack. He's coming in for a raid again, and he's gonna lose a villager of his own there. Let me give you some sound, by the way. 2 Naginatas popping out, but there are hyenas, but they are very well protected by tomahawks on this side. And the Naginata there is, I believe, shot down by the town center. And he damaged a lot of villagers, but he didn't kill one, so I think that it was very good micro of Nagayumi, pulling the low HP villagers into his town center, letting the other ones still get the maximum amount of resources. Naginata's gonna deal with this Kanya over there. And villagers popping out again. Of course, you don't want to have more than 10 villagers into the town center. If you can get them out and get a resource, that's best. But on the other hand, you don't want to lose them either. The town center going to be focused on the hero again. Of course, giving him 100 XP, so it will be another short day of units popping out. It's going to be really hard. I expect Kanyas. There's 1 Kanya popping out and 1 Naginata as well. And now he's going to use his villagers to block all the tomahawks. It seems so, and he's gonna come out as well. He hasn't upgraded his villagers yet, but the town center should really be focused firing on doing so. So this will be really, really rough because you can't fight tomahawks with villagers for a long time. You can only do it for a short time and use your micro there. If he wants to do so, I'd really like him to see upgrading the villager HP so he could really fight longer with his villagers and live longer and do more damage, and maybe skip 1 Yumi there. Yeah, good pressure by Nagayumi, going for the trading post boom at first, and then upgrade your stagecoach as well, as you see, and then just pushing in from there, pressuring with a lot of units, and then of course all the army shipments and the stable and the warhead both being made there. And that's just really hard for Japan to deal with it. I would have liked to see a little bit more of a wall here so he had some more time, because if he had one of more shipments out and maybe a few Naginatas more, then he would really be able to better deal with his army. And now it was kind of batch over batch. He had half his army there, then he waited for the 5 Yumi shipment, but then already 5 Yumis died, then he waited for 2 Naginata, but more Yumis died, etc. It was really a rough position there for him. But very well micro by Nagayumi as well, using his tomahawks, and good position there. So that means that this series is gonna be over now. Nagayumi won it 3-1 to SnsJack, and he is gonna advance to the round of 8, and that means that he is definitely gonna be in the prize money there, assured of some nice money there, and maybe even gonna go further to the top 4 or even the finals. We have to see about that. I believe that if we take a look at the current scheme there, he is gonna be facing H2O anytime soon. That of course will be a very nice match, but also a very hard match. If you take a look here, yes, he is now the winner of SnsJack versus H2O, and that means that H2O versus Nagayumi is gonna be a very sick quarterfinals here. What we have